Welcome back, everyone, to episode 41 of the Tricks and Traps Speedrun. So I'm coming into today, rated 1987, and hopefully today is the day that I break 2000 elo. Let's hop into the first game. Okay, first opponent playing Andrew. We'll have a king's pawn. I think I'll take a break from the Ponziani, and I'll return to a Scotch Gambit, bishop c4. Fun opening, very aggressive. Black is playing maybe a slightly passive move, bishop e7. I'm going to... I mean, taking is probably the best approach. Let's try and actually gambit, though. I'm going to play c3. Just try and accelerate development. Black wants no business taking the extra pawn. So eventually I should recapture on d3. I'm just going to castle first. And, I mean, I could take with queen, take with bishop. There is queen b3 to consider. Actually, queen b3 is interesting. Attacking f7, how does black defend? Knight a5, I take. And then at the very least, I have queen a4 to hit the knight. Okay, let's play queen b3. This looks fun. Also, if knight e5, I take, removing the guard, and f7 still attacked. And if knight h6, I take it. So looks like black is under some pressure here. Yeah, with bishop e6, I can either take the bishop or maybe even take the pawn. Yeah, things are getting spicy. So takes is definitely one option. And then I can eventually come back and win this pawn, and then likely be up a pawn. If I take on b7 first, I'm hitting the knight. There is a line knight a5, king, and then if queen b5, there's c6. Attacking the queen and defending the knight, and then the bishop still attacked too. So that doesn't look as good. I'm going to take the bishop. I think the tricky opening paid off. The dust settles a little bit. I could trade queens and then just go after the pawn. I could also keep queens on the board. Let's simplify. Yeah, just take the pawn next. Okay, to be honest, I kind of forgot about this this move, counterattacking my e4 pawn. So maybe it's not that simple. Yeah, I want to defend and then take the pawn, but the only way to defend is knight d2. But actually, there's knight bd2 or knight fd2. Maybe I can play knight fd2. With the idea to play f3 and then move the knight and then eventually take the pawn. It's kind of weird, but let's do it. I mean, my queen side is completely underdeveloped. But the whole idea is to defend e4, win d3, and then later develop. I might have to be concerned about d5. But maybe not. Maybe just king h1. Okay. So I create the pawn chain. Yeah, black is going to try and hold on for the pawn, or hold on to the pawn. But I have knight f1, or knight b3. Knight f1 looks nice. Okay, black wants to play c4. Interesting. F4 I think is a little bit too weakening because then e4 is no longer defended. Yeah, I don't want to allow this pawn chain. So I guess I play I mean, I could play c4 and we trade pawns. b3 is another option. I'm also considering bishop f4. Bishop f4, knight g6, though. Yeah, I'm not sure. If I play b3, there's b5, and yeah, what to do? I'm looking for other ideas here. Okay, I have one idea. Bishop f4. First of all, I don't think there's any tactics, because knight e4 I take on e5. And let's say c4 I take, b3, b5, take, and I'll have two attackers against c4. I think that's good for me. And then this is a very similar line. c4, b3, b5, take. And again, I'm going to eventually win the pawn. Let's go for this. Not 100% confident. Black immediately plays c4, so I can take first. Oh, there's bishop c5. Oh dear. Maybe I play a4 first. Yeah, this is getting weird. I've already drained a lot of time. But the opponent's being resourceful. And also moving quicker than me. Okay, now can I take? Take, knight d2, bishop c5. But bishop c5 blocks a c-file. Yeah, I think I take. So something really weird can happen. Rook c8, knight e3, bishop c5, pinning the knight, but then I take. And I think it's okay, and then I just get out of the pin the next move. It looks very delicate. But I think it just works out. Yeah, knight e2 is no issue. Yeah, a4 is a very important move to prevent the pawn chain from forming. Now e5 is attacked. Yeah, all these pawns might end up falling very soon. I don't think I can take on e5 though, because after king e6, both knights are hanging. I could play king f2. There's also g3. g3 check, king g2. Kind of like g3. It's weird with all this pressure. Like my knight's pinned. This knight is tied down to defending, but I think everything's under control. Meanwhile, black's d pawn is falling. E pawn's also a target. The knight might end up getting trapped too. Like once I take on d3, the knight has no squares. Yeah, so my opponent's taking their longest think of the game. That's interesting. If I take, but I can take here first with check. Now everything is crumbling for black. If king e6, I take the knight, defending my own knight. No mercy. If rook takes, it's a fork. But I'm also just up a minor piece and a couple pawns. Oh no, my pawn. Someone call an ambulance, but not for me. Yeah, very interesting game. Very tricky game too. Like stemming from an ambitious gambit on my part. Okay, game abandoned. So let's take a look. I think I got a nice position and then maybe misplayed it a little bit. Maybe I was being too fancy. Queen b3 is the best move. White's objectively better here. Take. Yeah, I don't think I considered taking on b7 in this line. But this makes a lot of sense, hitting the knight. And the knight doesn't have a great square. Like queen d7 loses a rook. Engine says the best move is king d7. Yeah, I think if I considered this, I may have gone for it. And taking on e6 seems simple. And it's still better for white. But rook d1 was a mistake. Yeah, I missed black's counterplay. And actually the engine just says it's equal here. Now it says black's better. But I had the very clear plan of eventually winning the pawn. Black, of course, had the plan of trying to defend the pawn. Apparently here, pawn d5 is best. Seems risky to open the d file, but also opens the bishop. Okay, c5 was played. And then I was happy with a4. And yeah, once I take, everything is under control. I was kind of expecting bishop c5, but this allows me to take on c4. And this is what you call superfluous knights, where the knights defend each other. Sometimes they can be awkward. Like if black were able to play b5, then I'd be in trouble, but b5 is off limits, and yeah, everything is fine. Next move would be probably king f1 to unpin this knight, or rook takes d3, of course. So yeah, going forward, I think it was pretty smooth. And yeah, that win brings me to 1997. So let's do another. Okay, white again, play e4 again. This time we have a French defense. I've been playing this b3 gambit. I'm going to play a two knights attack. It's one of my favorite tricky, but also pretty reliable openings. It can be very effective at this rating level. And in this line, white gets a very quick lead in development. 3 minor pieces already developed in 5 moves. I think I can castle now. There's also queen e2, actually. Wait a minute, I should slow down here. This castling looks good, but queen e2 wins the pawn, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, bishop d7 blocked the defense. Now, if I take, knight's pinned. If bishop b5, I take with check. Yeah, sometimes you don't need to play like a crazy dubious gambit to get an opening trap. Like sometimes you just want to develop as quickly as possible, pressure the opponent, and in this case, yeah, it pays off. I was kind of hoping for g6 and smothered mate, but that's not happening. But this is happening. Knight c7 is a pork. Queen is pinned, and it's a fork. Yeah, we trade queens, win the rook. Can my other knight come in? Yeah, if knight e5, there's king e6. I'm trying to make this work. I want to save this knight. I might just start with castling, but castling allows bishop d6. So how to do this? Maybe d4. Just to open the d file to eventually get to the king. I might have to accept the fact that the knight will be trapped. Starting with this. Yeah, now I can take. There's rook e8 check. I was kind of hoping to like develop the bishop and then castle. What I might do is play bishop e3. Like even though it looks bad, like under normal circumstances, this would lose a pawn, but it gives me initiative. And I think it also It's going to give me a tempo to castle and use a d-file. Yeah, let's take... Okay, here I can't legally castle either way, but I can play king f2. And the whole idea is to be the one making threats. If knight takes c2, then the file opens and the knight will likely be saved. Yeah, king g3. It's okay to put the king on such a square when queens are off the board. Still attacking the knight. Let's get the rook in. And the knight in. There might be some mating construction. Like, this knight plays some role in restricting the king. Like, all these squares are covered. Do I have some... It's really close. Rook d5? It's really close. Knight c7. And the knight escapes. I guess knight b5 next. If knight c6, I think it's mate in 2. Knight c4, king a6, knight c7 checkmate. And it's happening. Yeah, not a mating pattern I would have expected to happen from this game. But yeah, I actually don't need any of my other like rooks or pawns. Like, I just need the knights for this checkmate. Not a pattern you see every day. But yeah, I think my opponent just kind of crumbled out of the opening. Bishop d7 is already a pretty big mistake. And actually, c5 is maybe the first mistake. It's one of the nice things about playing the two knights attack against the French is it makes it so c5 is just not a great move because the center opens up and white gets this huge lead in development. Knight c6 is a better way to go, but then castling rook e1 comes, very often d4, and the center's under pressure. Sometimes black will have trouble castling quickly too. So nice game. I've officially broken 2000 elo, rated 2004. Let's do another. Okay, next opponent. Yeah, my opponents are getting stronger, but that won't stop me from playing gambits. I want to try this Englund with bishop c5 if my opponent accepts. Yeah, let's go for bishop c5. This is one that you should not play on a regular basis, but once in a while it can be fun to try out. And I'm trying to play quickly here, so the idea is knight f3, d6, take, and then knight e7. Oh no, my knight, and then win the queen. I don't think my opponent would fall for it at this rating level, but I'm going to pre-move knight e7. Try and make it seem like a mouse slip. Okay, opponent doesn't take. So now it's just a gambit. And actually after take, I think I have to take back. I can't leave the knight hanging because takes there's king e2. So this didn't work at all. Okay, maybe I should have tried this line at lower rating levels. But I'm getting some early time advantage. And there's some form of compensation. Like with bishop g4, knight c6, maybe eventually castling queenside and attacking on the king side. Bishop g5 is a fine move. I think I'll just keep developing. Knight c6. It does seem like my opponent is hesitant to accept the gambit. Pawn takes pawn is probably one of the best moves, though. We might see bishop b5. Okay, here I could win the pawn back, but then we trade queens. So let's be more active, bishop g4. And I am making an effort in this game to play faster. Nice time advantage. Oh, I just realized my opponent sent me a chat. No way this is Rosen. Oh my god. Oh. I just watched the game you vs Magnus at the outdoor simul today. Oh, that's funny. I'm not sure what to say. I'm saying, ha ha ha, this is me, good luck. Okay. Yeah, always fun when I play fans in the speedrun. It hasn't happened too often though when people message me, especially during the games. I do sometimes see that my opponents like comment on the YouTube videos. And again, rating is refunded, so if I win this game, my opponent will eventually get their rating points back. And they're playing well. Yeah, knight d5 is a good move, hitting the queen and the pawn. I'll play queen d7. I'm regretting playing this very dubious line, especially if my opponent has maybe seen my videos featuring it. Like ideally, you want to play this line against unsuspecting opponents. Opponent says, congrats on the marriage. That's very kind. I'll say thanks. Yeah, this is turning into a very friendly game. Usually in serious chess games, especially OTB, people or opponents don't talk to each other, but sometimes it happens online. So these pawns have been staring each other for a while. If white takes, I either take with queen or bishop. And there is a possibility white doesn't take, and yeah, bishop b5 makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna slow down a little bit. There's some things to calculate. Like if a6 takes, knight moves, and there's still this tension, man. I'm also curious about taking now. I think castling queenside, it's too risky, like even for me. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with taking. Although, is there knight takes e5? Take. Oh, that might be okay for white. So maybe I do just play a6, trade. Knight goes back somewhere. And then I could take and win back the pawn. I really don't want to simplify though. Do I castle kingside? Doesn't seem to solve the issue of the pin. Considering rook d8. Ugh. Yeah, what to do? What about a6 takes and then queen takes? Still gambiting the pawn, but then I get the bishop pair. Maybe that's the way to go. Yeah, being down a pawn doesn't feel so bad when you have two bishops versus two knights. And it's the same case with taking with pawn, but in that line, maybe it's also possible. And then just not taking on e5 and still leaving the tension. But I think queen takes is maybe a little bit more attractive to eventually castle queenside, keep the pawns intact. Although, wait a minute, if I take, I can't castle either way immediately because then I get forked. I can probably castle eventually. Yeah, the tension remains. I'm up a couple minutes. Feels weird being up on time. I'm so used to being down on time. H3 makes a lot of sense. Now is probably the time to take, and then take. And then I cover e7 with the bishop, so then I can choose where to castle. Okay, fair enough. I am realizing there is this move queen g3 attacking both pawns. There's actually not a move that I see to defend both pawns, because queen f6 is off limits. So if queen g3, I might just castle, allow queen takes e5, and then treat it as a gambit. White castles queenside, interesting. I'm inclined to castle kingside, have a sharp game. Let's do it. So I'm not getting forked. Bishop covers e7. There might be ideas of f5. At some point, I would really love to like move my queen and play c6. There's a tricky line. Queen e6. Oh no, I get forked. But then queen h6 check. King b1, I use a c file. Knight goes back to d5. I'm not sure if there's a great follow-up there. I might just play queen h6 first, and then c6. Yeah, I don't like the knight staying on e5 for too long. White wants to also pawn storm. Feels like my pawn storm is a little bit too slow. Now the only other thing I'm considering is still this move f5. It makes things kind of spicy. I guess the threat would be to take and win f2. Oh wait, but white can just take. The knight's still defended. Okay, let's go for this. It does give me some initiative. Yeah, c6. This might actually turn positional very soon. Like if knight e3, I might take and just have a slightly better endgame. It then becomes a fight for the d file. Okay. So the problem is if I take, first of all, white could take with a pawn or the queen, but let's say queen takes, 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 rook d8, king c1, king f8, trade, trade, rook d1. I don't know if the king pawn ending is winning for me. Huh. Take, take, take. Rook d8, king c1. Yeah. I really want to double white's pawns, but I think I start with this and then think. I feel like queen takes e3 is coming. Oh, pawn takes e3. Okay. Well, now I don't have to decide. I can play this. I think. I like the queen on h6. It helps defend, but also pressures these pawns. Now I can... It feels very wrong to take, giving white the clump of center pawns, but I think it's justified. White was preparing rook d8, or rook d1. And d3 is now going to be a target. Rook d1 loses h4. Now I can start applying pressure. And now rook d1 is playable. I think I should play c5. There's also queen c5. Nothing's really sticking out though. Let's start with c5. It clamps down in the center. This pawn is arguably a backwards pawn. Even though there's a neighboring pawn, it can't easily push. And it's on the half-open file. Now I'm ready to try and open up more files on the queen side. This move looks attractive. Yeah, just giving myself options, gaining more space. White's still trying to pawn storm. Let's play this, making it so when I play c4 and takes, there might be queen e4. Right, let's play a4. I was thinking c4, but a4 actually looks stronger. And then if takes, I might go for b4. And then set up queen takes a4. I'm calculating takes. Okay, never mind. Okay, a1. Now maybe c4. Crashing through. Yeah, pawn tension is good when you're, especially when you're attacking, because files are guaranteed to open. If takes, I take this pawn with check. I'm threatening the discovered fork. Yeah, the king is losing its shelter. Yeah, the pawn storm formed pretty quickly. It's like one of these unexpected tornadoes. Yeah, this is slightly painful for white. Okay, good game. I really did not get anything from this dubious opening. E4 is a fine move. Just to show the trap, for anyone that's not aware, the idea is takes knight e7 would have been pre-moved, and a lot of players just take the knight without thinking, and then loser queen, bishop takes f2, king takes f2, queen takes d1. So maybe I'll try this again at some point in the speedrun. There's other ways to play the Englund Gambit as well. But we still got an interesting position. Pawn e4, bishop g5. Yeah, these pawns were staring at each other for many moves. And going forward, wow, so white could have been a lot better if they take here. I think I was going to take with bishop. Engine just says h3. It's plus 1.6. This is one of the better ways to play, though. Like, sometimes you should take, if knight e7, then the knight should come here. And then if takes, there's ideas of knight e4, knight b5. That's maybe the cleanest way to play against this opening. But, yeah, what happened in the game? a6, takes. And eventually, yeah, things simplified a little bit. Engine prefers white, but does not like h4. Yeah, it's saying queen c3, which makes sense. Or rook d2, preparing the double up. Yeah, sometimes in positions where there's only one open file, the go-to plan is to double up on that file. But h4, check here. And I'm losing my voice, so I don't know how much more analysis I'll do. But yeah, it looks like white could have been okay if takes and g4. The proper way to play. I can't blame my opponent for playing rook d3. On the surface, it looks like it makes a lot of sense, but it just gave me a target, and then the storm happened, and white did not recover. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the chess today. As always, if you like the content, do subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.